Hello, it is 6 o'clock and it is time for another Facebook Live. And hello, if you have just joined me or you're watching at a later time. It is Windsor here from the Girl Scouts of San Gorgonio Council. I'm really excited to come to you today to talk about what is a really important day today, which is World Ocean Day. You might not have known that it's World Ocean Day, maybe you did, but it is a day that is celebrated each year on June 8th. And it is a reminder of how important our oceans are to life on Earth and the benefits humans get from the ocean, and our individual and collective duty to use its resources sustainably. So whether you are near the beach, near the ocean, whether you don't live near it, maybe you have never been or seen the ocean, maybe you love going there with your friends and family, whatever your relationship is with the ocean, whether or not you have a personal connection to it or not, as a human being and a citizen of planet Earth, the ocean actually plays a really huge part of your life. So today is just a day that has been set aside for one day of the year to think about the oceans and what it gives us, to celebrate it, as well as to think about all the things that it gives us. So I do have a little presentation as well. So I can share this. So yes, it is Happy World Oceans Day, June 8th, and we are getting to celebrate the ocean from everything it does for us, from the oxygen we breathe to the animals that it supports and the artists that it inspires. World Ocean Day is a United Nations initiative. So what that means is that the United Nations is this collective group of nations from all across the world that come together to discuss different policies or different topics that concern all United States, or sorry, all world citizens. So United States citizens from other countries, just everyone who lives on this world, as well as the animals and the things that affect all of us as a collective. And so the World Oceans Day is a initiative by them, or by the United Nations, and is celebrated around the world. And it was actually first declared in 1992, so not super long ago, about 30 years ago or so. But in 2008, June 8th was officially designated as World Oceans Day. And since then, it has a different theme each year. So every year it has a different theme, of course, all about oceans, but a particular theme related to that topic. And this year's theme is the ocean, life, and livelihoods. So livelihoods means, someone's job or career. So millions of people are employed by ocean-based industries, whether they're fishers, they're in fishing, whether they're, doing something on the ocean and shipping, or maybe some sort of ocean-based company. But we are taking more and more from the ocean that can be replenished. So for example, fish populations have been depleted, so we don't have as much fish in the oceans as we did before. And coral reefs, which are important places for life, sustaining life in the oceans, are being destroyed. And so what's happening is we're being unkind to the ocean, or not helping it survive. We're depleting it of its resources, and that is going to have an impact on our own lives and the livelihoods of others. Because if we keep taking fish from the ocean, there's not going to be any more fish to get from the oceans to feed people, in 5, 10, 20, 50 years from now. So that is why it's so important to think about the oceans. But there's a lot of interesting facts about the oceans, and this is actually a perfect day to learn about them. So the oceans cover about 70% of the planet and produces at least 50% of the world's oxygen. So oxygen is the thing that we need as humans to breathe, but it is important to all living creatures, whether they live in the oceans and absorb oxygen from the water, or they take it into their lungs or some other way. But oxygen is a really important sustaining gas for life. So the ocean produces 50% of it. Whether, different organisms produce oxygen. Some people think of, trees producing lots of oxygen, which is true, but actually the majority of a lot of oxygen comes from the oceans and different types of bacteria and algae and things that grow in the ocean. But yeah, so 70% of our planet is the ocean, and there's a lot that we don't know about it. It is home to the largest mountain, or in terms of the height from base to peak, as well as the deepest part of our world. So the Marianas Trench is 36,000 feet deep. So it's really, really deep. But there's a lot to know. It's home to the most biodiversity of the Earth, and it absorbs about 30% of the carbon dioxide produced by humans. So we produce a lot of carbon dioxide, which is actually a byproduct of breathing, and a lot of the things that we do. A lot of things we do as humans. So the oceans absorb that. So it's actually a huge factor of kind of reducing climate change, and things like that. So we need to be kind to the oceans because it's kind to us. It makes it possible for us to live, to breathe, and to eat in many cases. So there's a lot of things that are important about the oceans. But unfortunately, it's being impacted and wildlife being impacted. So you can see here there's a sea turtle. And you can see next to him is a lot of pollution, plastic pollution, single-use plastic specifically. So we as humans, we're pretty smart in some respects, and we like to create new things. And one of the things that we created was single-use plastics, which seemed like a really great idea. Why not use these things, make this thing that's going to make it easier to store things and carry them around? But unfortunately, we kind of created our own worst enemy, because single-use plastics don't really break down. They take a long time to break down. Really hundreds, if not thousands of years, and they might go smaller like microplastics, but they don't actually end up going away. And a lot of these plastics end up in the ocean. So you might have heard of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is, a huge big area of the ocean that is just completely filled with plastics, and it's actually the size of Texas, if not larger. And these plastics, are really harmful to wildlife because, they might ingest them. So a sea turtle might think that a plastic bag is, say, food, like a jellyfish, and it gets into his stomach, and that's not good, and they can't digest it, so it just stays there. And there are many ocean creatures that have these little plastics in them, from, the biggest animals such as whales to the smallest organisms such as like clams and things like that get some of those microplastics, and that has an effect on their ability to grow and eat and to have their babies and be able to reproduce and things like that. So that's a byproduct of us as humans and doing that. So it's a big part of us to maybe make a difference. And we're polluting our oceans as well as our beaches. So this is a picture of a beach that is just completely covered in single-use plastics, as well as other different pollutants. But that's a really big one. Other pollutants could include, maybe oils from, gasoline from your car or that in ships, different types of chemicals such as fertilizers or different things like that, and that has a really negative impact. So we need to figure out what we can do to make a difference. So stop using single-use plastics is a big one. So don't use plastic straws or cups. Maybe use a water bottle that is made of glass, or a plastic that can be recycled, or a metal. Or try to not use so many plastic baggies, or when you go to the store, don't use plastic bags, use canvas bags or some sort of reusable bags. And clean up litter that can make its way to the ocean. So the majority of litter comes to the oceans from the land. So it could be in a stream, or it could go down to the drain. when it rains, and it washes out to the ocean. So the best way to make it so that litter doesn't get into the ocean, because it's much harder to take it out of the ocean, it's much easier to make sure that it never gets there. So you can pick it up it can be near the beach, on the shoreline, or it could be afar. So anywhere you see it, if you're just walking around, maybe you should take the time to pick up litter around your house so that it doesn't get to the ocean. It ends up getting recycled or put someplace where it's not going to make its way to the beach or the ocean. And there's other things that you can do. So you can conserve water by taking shorter showers, and being careful with your water runoff. You can reduce waste and you can recycle. And you can also fish responsibly. So, do catch and release. So you're only taking, if you're like to fish with your family or do things like that, you only take the fish that you need so that they have the ability to continue living and reproducing and creating more fish populations. But another thing that you can do is just make your voice heard and support ocean-saving organizations. So these are 3 examples that I found. The Ocean Conservancy, Oceana, and the Coral Reef Alliance. So these are just 3 of many, many organizations, nonprofits, for-profits that do a lot of work supporting the ocean specifically. And they might, support ocean cleanup initiatives. They might, put money into supporting ocean-saving legislation through, through world's governments. So, there's been examples of nonprofits that have been able to completely change, what is put into our oceans. The big example I can give is there used to be these little plastic beads that you could get in like face washes, and they were like supposed to be exfoliating, but they were microplastics, and they ended up having a really bad impact on the ocean. And so nonprofit actually put a lot of work into making sure that they were banned. So they are no longer able to be produced into different soaps and body washes because the microplastics were making their way in the ocean. So that's an example of a nonprofit company that's done a lot of work. But you can also just make your voice heard in other ways. So you can write to your politicians and encourage them to support ocean saving, laws, or you can support nonprofits or people who do that work. Or you can just, maybe put information on your social media, or just, make posters or something like that that's going to remind people to take shorter showers or be good to the beach picking up litter. If you're going to be at the beach with your family or having a fun day, make sure you're picking up litter while you do it. I know I was at the beach not long ago, and I made sure to take time to pick up litter. Probably looked a little crazy to the people around me as I was just going through the beach picking up a lot of litter. But I don't like it. You're good. Sorry, I just forgot something. But you can do a lot of other things. So there's a lot of ways, and you can always look at the website. Go to any of these websites, including the World's Ocean Day website, the UN website, or any of these other websites to see what you can do as well. So I am going to go back. So that is all the information I have, but I figured because it's World Oceans Day, you probably want to do some fun activity. So I did have a coloring sheet that you could print out, and I had printed it out, but I forgot it, but that's okay. But you can go to the World Ocean Day website, and they actually have a really fun worksheet that you can print out and color, and it's really cool. It's their logo with a bunch of different sea animals. But we're going to just do a really quick activity that doesn't require a lot of work, and from supplies that you might actually already have in your home. And it's a little portable ocean. So the materials you're going to need are some sort of jar. You can use a water bottle, a single-use plastic water bottle. I'm going to use a mason jar because this is actually more sustainable. Because glass, when I'm done with my little ocean, I can pour out my contents and I can reuse the jars over and over and over again. And glass is really just made of sand, and so that will break down over time, and that has less of a negative impact on our oceans. And it has a metal lid, and it's the same thing. Metal breaks down and gets recycled differently than plastics do. So that's why I'm going to use a jar. And this I just have filled with water about 3/4 of the way, or 2/4 of the way. You also need food dye. I have color blue because I want to make my ocean nice and blue. And then you're going to need some sort of oil. I'm going to use mineral oil or baby oil. It's about the same thing. They just have baby oil usually just have fragrances in it, but this is mineral oil. You can, because it's clear, and I think it looks better when it's clear, but you can also use vegetable oil, cooking oil, some sort of oil. Definitely ask permission if you're at home doing this before you start making a mess. But it's a really simple activity, and we're just going to make our little ocean. So you're going to take your jar filled with water, and I just got this out from the tap, and you're going to take your food dye, and you're going to just add some color to kind of make your water the color of the bright blue ocean. So the ocean actually is not blue, it's clear, water is clear, but it looks blue because of some of the light, and you can actually see that. Isn't that really cool how the color goes in there and it just kind of settles? And I'm actually going to put this on so that I can shake my jar up a little bit. And it turns that really beautiful blue color. And you can make it as light or as dark as you want. I think I'm going to keep it that kind of color. And then you're just going to take your oil and you're going to pour it on top of your water. And you're going to want more water than oil because what you're doing is you're just making it so the oil floats on top of the water so that it gives a really cool like wave effect when you swish it around. And I'll show you. Ooh. And I'm just going to pour this in, and you don't have to be like careful about it. I mean, you want to be careful so it doesn't like pour out, but so as you can see, it's just going to float on top because oil is less dense than water, so it's actually going to float. And that's actually why when oil spills happen, they stay on the surface of the water because oil is less dense, so it floats. And I'm just going to, I think I spilled some extra oil, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to put my lid on nice and tight. Make sure it's super duper tight. Don't skirt on making it tight because you don't want, water and oil to spill. And then as you can see, I have my oil and my water. And if I actually do this sideways, it kind of looks like the ocean. It's actually hard to see because it's kind of clear. But you can kind of see and you can make your little waves. So because the oil is on top, it makes it kind of look like the water underneath looks like the waves, which is kind of fun. And if you want to make this even more fun, you could put like sand, or you could actually put like maybe you have some like ocean shapes creatures or something like that, and you can put that in your jar as well. And I just think this is really fun to watch and look at. And you can make your own little waves and you can shake it up and just imagine you're just at the beach watching the waves. So this is our little ocean in a jar. And so that's a simple activity you can do for World Oceans Day. But there's a lot of other activities you can do. You could go to the beach, you can pick up some litter. Maybe you can take the litter that you collect from the beach and make some kind of like abstract art or something like that, and reuse it or something like that. Or you can just think of all the different ocean creatures and maybe do something to support them. Maybe you want to make color some, sea turtles, or think about all the creatures in the oceans that need our help to make sure that their home is safe and clean. So that is all I have for today. I hope you have enjoyed this short little thing about World Oceans Day. I definitely encourage you to go online and look up any information on the website, either World Oceans Day or the United Nations website, or you can always search World Oceans Day and you're going to get a lot of resources and look at things like that. And even though that tomorrow's not going to be World Oceans Day, our oceans always are there 365 days a year. So you should always take the time to support the oceans and make sure that they're clean and supported, and that we're leaving them, better than we find them, and that they're going to be cleaner in our future rather than dirtier, so that we will always be able to have it and have it there for us. So I hope you have a great day. I see a comment. Did I see any comment? But yeah, so I hope you have a great rest of your day. We are going to have another live on Thursday, so check out that. And I definitely recommend checking out our website at the Girl Scouts of San Gorgonio Council. We have a lot of really cool, fun events coming up, and we also have hangouts 3 times a month for all ages as well as older girls. So I want you all to know about those, and we're talking about fun different topics, so you can check out those topics as well. So if you want to come and do, maybe a virtual escape room or talk about your favorite book or something like that, you should look at those. But I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to go and play with my Ocean in a Jar. And if you do it or do anything fun for World Ocean Day, please put it in the comments or share it online. I think it'd be really cool to let everyone know. So bye and have a great day.